Howdy, guys. Welcome to Cliff Notes and welcome to night number 77 of the overnight feed recaps for Big Brother season 26. A good Friday to all of y'all. Now, first of all, so many of y'all reached out with so much love and support after my video yesterday talking about losing my mom. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was an incredible outpouring of just love and support, and I absolutely do appreciate it. Thank you, guys. It means a lot to myself and to my family. So thank you for that. All right, let's talk about what happened last night. Eviction, big surprise. Not really, although there was talk. We sent Chemo home, right? Y'all probably know that, but now we sent Chemo home. Not a huge surprise, although there certainly had been talk that maybe Robina was going to be a last minute flip. Did not happen. Chemo went home. There was a little bit of conversation that took place about that, but about Chelsea and Cam maybe having some conversations. We'll talk about in a second. But Chemo has gone home, which means our final four for Big Brother season 26 consists of Chelsea, Mackenzie, Cam, and Robina. I got to say, at the beginning of the season, heck, even halfway through the season, those four probably would not have been my picks of who I thought were going to make it to the end like they've done. More power to them for making it here. So that is our final four. The big question last night, not so much who was going home in fifth place, but who was going to win the HOH and be the first person to make it into the final three. Well, we now have that answer. Yes, indeed. The feeds came back around 9:30 or so, Big Brother time. We have a new HOH, and that HOH is Chelsea. Yes, Chelsea has won her. I think I saw it was fourth HOH. A lot of HOHs. Chelsea has won her HOH. Not a huge surprise given that Mackenzie could not compete. And as a result, it was Chelsea competing against Cam and Robina. Chelsea took advantage of that, won her HOH. Tell you what, between Mackenzie and Chelsea, just back and forth here lately and really controlling the game. I, personal opinion, think it's got to be one of these two deserving of the title that win. And that doesn't mean that they will win, but these two certainly seem like they're the ones that deserve the title come finale night. We still have a little bit of game to play between now and then. So now Chelsea's in the final three. The veto competition on Saturday is going to decide what happens next. If Chelsea wins veto, she gets to basically pick which of the other three people she wants to carry into final three with her, and that person then gets to decide who the final three person is and who goes home. If Robina, Mackenzie, or Cameron, if Mackenzie, Robina, or Cam win veto, then they are safe and they decide who goes home. So yeah, really the veto has so much more power this week than HOH, but it does get you the first entry ticket into final three, which Chelsea does now have. All right, so she's excited. We've got the ladies in the kitchen, just cooking and just hanging out a little bit. Cam, not so much. Cam is in the bathroom. Cam is laying down, just not looking like he's really feeling the vibes right now. Your final four, Cam. Now, tough haul to make it to the big check at the end, but Cam is final four, but he's just not feeling it right now. Robina talks about that Cam is being down because another comp that he did not win, and that he's just feeling down because he didn't win it, which I absolutely get. Now, here's my question: is Cam down because he didn't win, or is he down because he doesn't want the other house guests to realize that maybe he doesn't care as much about winning? He got called out for not winning last time. So, win or lose, whether he tried to win or not, I think he realizes he needs to at least be acting like he is incredibly upset that he didn't win another competition. Now, with that being said, it would seem of all the competitions you could possibly win, this would be an incredibly dumb one to throw. No blood on your hands this week if he had won it. So why not win it? Get your guaranteed entry to final three and get that resume boost that Cam just absolutely does not have. So I don't think there's any way that Cam through this competition. As Chelsea pointed out, maybe he's just not good at competitions. But to throw it just does not make any sense to me. Now, having said that, Holly threw Final Four HOH during my season, which I also think was a questionable move. I still think that was not a smart move on her part. But anyway, so yeah, Cam not feeling very well at this point in time. We've got Rubina and Mackenzie in the kitchen talking. Rubina's very excited. She says, "We made it. Look at us. Yeah, look at us in week 3 or 4, and here we are, made it to the top 4." Mackenzie says, "No, no, we made it to the top 3. We shall see. I don't think that the path is guaranteed for either Mackenzie or Rubina quite yet. A little bit more game to play. So let's talk who wins vetoes and what could happen with these house guests. I think that if Cam wins this upcoming veto, he would send Mackenzie home. I think Mackenzie would be his target, that he would rather go to the final 3 against Rubina as opposed to Mackenzie. So I think Mackenzie goes home with a Cam veto. If Mackenzie wins, I think she would send Rubina home and hold on to Cam. Surely she knows she can beat Cam, right? And get rid of Rubina, which means you get rid of the T core and the chemo vote for her. I think Mackenzie would get rid of Rubina. Rubina, who would she send out? It depends. Is she truly part of this girls' alliance, or does she want the easiest route to victory? I'm kind of going to go with the latter, which would suggest that Rubina would send out Mackenzie as her target. And Chelsea, who would she doesn't get to pick who goes home, but she gets to pick who to save. I think Chelsea would probably pick Cam to save, which means Cam would finally have to get some blood on his hands, finally have to make a decision in this game of deciding whether to keep Rubina or Mackenzie. He'd keep Rubina, I think. Mackenzie would go home. So, of all the different scenarios, Mackenzie may have, I was going to say, may have the toughest route going forward, perhaps, but she also is a much better competitor than these other two. And I'm not 100% convinced that Chelsea's going to be fighting hard for this veto and force her to make a hard decision that may result in a bitter juror at the end. She may just kind of let it slide now that she's in, let these 3 duke it out. We will find out. And apparently, we may not be finding out on Saturday when you normally have a veto competition. It may be boosted up a little bit into Friday, because we did hear on the live show mention that the veto results are going to be covered on Sunday night's show. And if that's the case, they need to get this veto taken care of anyway. So we had nominations earlier than we normally have. We may get a veto competition as well. All right, so we've got all that. We've got Rubina talking to herself in a storage room a little bit later, complaining, saying, I really wanted this victory. I remember my Final Four comment. I wanted it so bad, just didn't happen. But Rubina is saying she really wanted to win, but she's talking about the fact that she's still proud of herself, that other people have won the game of Big Brother without being comp beast. Well, that's true, but most of the time when that happened, it's because maybe they weren't comp beast, but they were incredibly strategic game players in the game of Big Brother. I'm not sure I'm going to give Rubina that label either. So yeah, Rubina, you're going to have a tough one. All right, we've got Chelsea got her HOH room, last one of the season. She got pictures of her family. She seemed more excited to get a picture of her dog. She got another letter from her sister. She got an album by Beyonce as well. And then a whole lot more hair care and food and all the stuff that, yeah, it gets a little, by the time you've had this many HOHs, everyone's like, ah. But it starts to not get quite as exciting when you've already seen the family pics and letters and everything so many times before. Isn't it right? She's had so many HOHs. Mackenzie's had so many HOHs. So these two, a wealth of riches in terms of HOH products. And meanwhile, you've got Cameron and Rubina, who haven't had any chance to show off family, get their favorite foods, their music, nada, nothing, not anything at all. So you really have 2 people who've done a lot so far in terms of victories, and 2 people who just haven't done squat. All right, we've got Chelsea and Cam talking to each other. Chelsea is saying it doesn't matter who is nominated. Not really, but that perception-wise, it could still matter who goes up and what people perceive and all that. And she's got a good point. She's saying that others view Cam and herself as a duo, and therefore, to break up that perception a little bit. And Cam's saying, look, if I need to go on the block, I get it. It doesn't really matter who goes on the block or not. He says, so if I need to go on the block, it's cool, and no worries at all. Chelsea is saying that, look, just because I'm putting you on your block doesn't change anything. You and I, final 2, no matter what. at this point in time. So we know where Chelsea theoretically, she told Cam that. Uh, I do think that she would take Cam to a final two. Give her. Who would anyone not vote for Chelsea if it was Chelsea versus Cam in a final two? Would there be any? And I think it would have to be protest votes at that time. Angela, maybe. I just don't know if there's anyone who would not give Chelsea the title at that point. So yes, I do think that she would take Cam at the very end. But Chelsea, I mean, Mackenzie's still out there. Mackenzie would be a bit surprised. I think she's going to be a bit surprised. All right, so she says, Cam, you're my final two, no matter what. All right, we've got Chelsea and Rabina talking now. Chelsea is saying that Cam is definitely going up. There's no doubt about Cam is going on the block, Rabina. Playing into the girls' alliance just a little bit, perhaps, trying to stay tight with Rabina a little bit in saying that. Both of them are saying as well that they're perfectly okay if it's the two of them and Cam in a final three, or if it's the two of them and Mackenzie in a final three. In other words, as long as you and I are part of that final three, all's great in the world. They're okay with either way. Mackenzie or Chelsea does say that she wishes she had tomorrow to discuss this in more detail, but she doesn't. Again, apparently noms have been moved up to tonight, so she's just having to hash this out as quick as she can. Rabina mentioned says, yeah, I know it doesn't really matter and all that. She says, I would just like to have a break from the block. I've been on the block so long. It'd be cool not to have my name pop up on there. Just, even though it doesn't matter, just to have a little break from the block, All right, we've got Chelsea and Mackenzie talking. Mackenzie, more conversation about who goes on block. Mackenzie saying, look, I've got no problem if you put me on the block as long as long as you pull me off if you win the veto. I don't want it to come down to Cam or Rabina having or the power to make that decision and potentially send me home. So yeah, put me on the block. Just tell me that if you win veto, you'll pull me back off. Now, the part that Mackenzie didn't say is, are you going to be trying for veto? Would you maybe make sure that you try to win it? And maybe she doesn't care. Maybe it's enough for Mackenzie just to think that as long as Chelsea would pull her off, that Mackenzie feels like she can beat Cam or Rabina, so therefore she would be safe with that promise in place. Mackenzie is saying that it is a little bit weird that Rabina is so opposed to being nominated on the block this week since it doesn't really matter. Well, we heard her tell Chelsea earlier that she just wanted a break. Chelsea that is saying that, hey, look, here's the thing. Yes, I will pull you off if I win veto, but also if Rabina wins veto, she'll use it on you also, Mackenzie. Would she? Not 100% on that one, Mackenzie. But theoretically, according to Chelsea, the only way that Mackenzie maybe could be in trouble would be if Cam won this veto. All right, Chelsea is talking about Cam and where his head is at. Chelsea is saying, look, Cam wanted to keep chemo. She says, I think it was for more than just him being comfortable. She said, I'm not really sure what's going on, but he really wanted to keep chemo. And she's telling Mackenzie, I had to really push hard to get him to go ahead and agree to keep chemo over, to keep Rabina over chemo and keep you from having to break a tie and all that. I pushed hard to make that happen, Mackenzie. And she said, I just don't really know why he wanted to keep chemo, but we made it work. I pushed him hard enough and he made it happen. Chelsea is asking Mackenzie who she would send home. Say, hey, if you do win veto, Mackenzie, who are you going to send home? Well, Mackenzie, who typically just spills the beans on everything to Chelsea, has finally smartened up just a little bit. She tells Chelsea, says, I don't know. Let's wait to see how the veto plays out, and then we'll have that discussion. Good. Don't be telling Chelsea who you would send home because that person could end up winning veto, and you know that person potentially is going to hear that information. So Mackenzie did the right thing, kept her mouth shut, said, yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you later after the fact, Chelsea. All right, I mentioned noms got bumped up a little bit. They did indeed. Noms occurred around, I don't know, 1 o'clock or so, Big Brother time. Middle of the night nomination process. See, even Big Brother production realizes that all this downtime no longer makes a difference. No longer is good. Just speed up the whole week. Let's be done with it. They didn't want to wait till tomorrow. We didn't want to wait till tomorrow. Let's just get the whole week done and be through with this thing. there's just way too much downtime at the end of Big Brother. Not enough people have ongoing conversations at this point. But noms occurred around 1 o'clock or so. And on the block this week are, do they deserve a drum roll? No, because it doesn't matter. On the block this week are Mackenzie and Cam. Yeah, no big surprise based on what Chelsea had said. Rubina gets her break from the block nomination for a little while at least. So we've got Mackenzie and Cam on the block. I think it's smart of Chelsea. No, it doesn't matter, but as she said, there could be a perception. Don't show any favoritism. Don't make it look like you favor Cam over Mackenzie or Mackenzie over Cam by only putting one of them on the block. Put them both up. Be fair. Be unbiased. Let Rubina feel like you're a little bit closer to her. And Chelsea basically is seen as being fair. No one's upset with this whatsoever. No one's trying to read anything into it, I don't think. So yeah, I think it was smart, pretty smart nomination for Chelsea to do it the way she did. All right, the backyard is open, which is interesting in terms of what does this say about the HOH that was just held and the veto competition itself. I mentioned that Chelsea won the HOH. You know, I didn't say anything about what kind of HOH competition it was. These house guests have been remarkably silent about talking about this thing. I just don't really know what it is. At one point, Chelsea had said something about maybe that they had to do a reset because their screen went blank or what something was going on with their screen. Makes me think it was probably some kind of a standing in a booth watching something and having to pick a fairly quick competition, which is why they could have had it in the backyard, shut everything down, moved it off already. But we don't know. We don't know what kind of comp it was. But given the comps we've had this season, what her comments were, sounds like some kind of question and answer, true or false, pick out something that stands out, something like that type competition. But the backyard is open. Now, that also tells me if we're getting ready to have an accelerated timeline and the veto competition could be taking place, oh, I don't know, today, for example, obviously it's not going to be in the backyard if it's already open up, which makes me think, again, a secondary location where they've had some other veto comps. What does that say about the type of veto comp? It could be a lot of anything. I was saying that I thought the HOH maybe was going to be hanging on the ropes and spinning around. Doesn't sound like that's the case. I don't think that would have been. We would have heard about that. We would have seen more after effects. So that and slip and slide look like they both disappeared in a whole new approach to the games of Big Brother and the comps that we see. God, how much would I have loved to have had a season where I didn't have to compete in slip and slide or hanging from ropes? Not necessarily my strengths in terms of competitions in the game of Big Brother. It would have been interesting to see how the game would change a little bit with different comps during my season. Now, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. Don't worry about you. Move on with life. But yeah, backyard is open, so that they're out there enjoying it while they still can. Chelsea is telling Rubina that Cam is just over it, that he is ready to go home. He's just had enough of not winning all these competitions. So Chelsea trying to build her relationship with Rubina a little bit, make Rubina comfortable that yeah, Cam's done. It's just going to be the three of us at this point. You don't have to. Don't worry about winning veto or anything, Rubina. We're good. Cam's not even in the game at this point in time. We do have some girl talk about the HOH competition itself. And this is kind of feeding into what I was talking about earlier. They're saying it was another bad AI comp. Is that like Janky or Red Ainsley asking questions? Not really sure. They didn't really tell me much in terms of what the comp type was, but they said it was a bad AI comp. And again, that maybe there was a little bit of issue with the screen at some point. All right, Mackenzie's telling Rubina that Cam had said that he only wants to win when he needs to. So Mackenzie, again, just wanting to make sure that Rubina doesn't think that Cam is necessarily deserving or that Cam would necessarily have Rubina's back. And basically just throwing Cam under the bus a little bit when she tells Rubina that, yeah, he only wants to win when he needs to. She's saying that he needed to win this HOH we just had. He didn't, and she said as a result he's scared right now. He's worried about what's going to happen with us three ladies in here. She says something at one point about he knows about the girls' alliance, and so he's really worried. And I think this wasn't a conversation. I think this was while Kimo was still in the house. She said, "Hey, Cam is aware of the girls' alliance because Rubina had said, well, Kimo is too. I'm pretty sure Kimo knows about it as well. So in other words, yeah, get rid of Kimo while you get the chance." But yeah, she's saying that Cam is a little bit scared at this point in time. And with that, 4 o'clock or so, everyone in bed in the HOH house, so or in the Big Brother house. So there you have it, guys. Again, we didn't have as many feeds because we had the live show. Feed shut down for a long time, but Chelsea is the HOH. Nominations have already been made, and it's Cam and Mackenzie on the block. Doesn't really matter. It's all going to come down to the veto, which again could take place at some point today or this evening. So I'll be watching for it through around doing a whole lot of the things I have to do today, but I'll be trying to keep an eye out for it. But I may have information first thing in the morning about our veto winner, and from that we'll be able to read a lot more into how the last week or so of this game is going to play out. Guys, have a fantastic Friday. Give your loved ones hugs. Tell them that you love them. I will be back tomorrow morning, give you a recap. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.